Mr. Speaker and members, first instrument in this order, only instrument in this order, is Senate Bill 8 by Senator Womack to enact Title 18 relative to congressional districts, provide relative to redistricting of Louisiana's congressional districts, provide with respect to offices, positions other than congressional which are based on congressional districts.
Representative Boyer on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Members, also thank you. Thank you for your patience this week. I know we have been charged with a tall task, and your patience, your fortitude, your strong desires to represent your district, it's impressive. It's nice to see, especially with some of the new members. You've been awesome this week, and you've stood strong. And to say it's impressive is just the bit of it. Members, I'm bringing you this congressional redistricting map that Senator Womack presented. You've heard it debated a couple of times. You heard it in committee as well. Yesterday, we added an amendment in committee to Senator Womack's bill. And so my first order of business, even before I make my opening remarks, is going to get this bill in the proper posture. I'd like to offer up an amendment to delete the amendments that we added in committee yesterday. So if you'll check your monitors, it's going to, or Madam Clerk, would you mind reading in the amendment?
Mr. Speaker and members, Representative Boyer, as he's just discussed, is offering up a one-page set of amendments. That set is online. It's set number 83.
So members, after hearing from a lot of you, it's my thought that this instrument was in its best posture when it came over here from the Senate, and so I am offering an amendment to put it back in that posture, and I'd ask for your support.
I see no questions on the amendment. Representative Morcell for the floor on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and Chairman, and thank you, members. On yesterday, we had a pretty, I would say, heated debate in H&G about these amendments. And so I rise in support of removing those amendments. And I had a lot of questions after I got home about why didn't I object to the amendments, but I'd stepped out of the room, and so that's the reason for me not objecting to the amendments. I did object to the bill because the amendments had been added. I know this is the process. I think that the bill was in its best posture when it came over with Senator Womack, Senate Bill 8. However, I tried to put that bill in a better posture. That matter failed. I know the process, I appreciate the process, and I appreciate the chairman taking that amendment off that I think does us no good to get to a better place where we can get the 2nd congressional district. And I'd ask that you all would support the chairman in removing the amendment that was placed on there on yesterday. Thank you.
Is there any objections to the adoption of the amendment? Representative Farnham objects. Would you like to speak on your objection? Representative Boyer, would you like to close on your amendment?
Members, I just ask you to support the removal of the amendment that we added in House and Governmental. Thank you.
Representative Boyer has offered up an amendment which Representative Farnham objects. All those in favor, vote yea. All those opposed, vote nay. The clerk will open the machine. Wright, yea. Emerson, yea. Are you through voting, members? The clerk will close the machine. We have 84 yeas and 16 nays. And the amendment passes. Representative Boyer on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members, for supporting me on that amendment. You'll bear with me for a second. So, members, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be with you here today 2 years ago, I sat on the committee that passed the original congressional map after redistricting, and we spent a lot of time going around the state listening to folks from all over our state. And this House, by over two-thirds vote, supported a map that we thought was fair, that we thought was representative of the state of Louisiana. As Senator Stein said earlier in this week, it's with a heavy heart that I present to you this other map, but we have to. It's that clear. A federal judge has ordered us to draw an additional minority seat in the state of Louisiana. We have the Federal Voting Rights Act litigation. It's still going on in the U.S. District Court in the Middle District of Louisiana. The map in this bill that I'm presenting is one of a product of long, detailed process with several goals. First, and as a lot of you are aware, Congresswoman Julia Letlow represents North Louisiana in our nation's capital and serves on both the Appropriations and Agricultural Committees. The boundaries in the bill that I'm presenting ensure that Congresswoman Letlow remains both unimpaired with any other incumbents and in congressional district that should continue to elect a Republican Congress for the remainder of this decade. I have great pride in the work Congresswoman Letlow has accomplished, and this map will ensure that Louisianians will continue to benefit from her presence in the halls of Congress for as long as she decides to continue serving our great state of Louisiana. Second, of Louisiana's 6 congressional districts, the map in the proposed bill ensures that 4 are safe Republican seats. Louisiana's Republican presence in the United States Congress has contributed tremendously to the national discourse, and I'm very proud, and it's remarkable, that both the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, and the U.S. House Majority Leader, Steve Scalise, are both from our great state. This map ensures that the two of them will have solidly Republican districts at home so they can focus on the national leadership that we need in Washington, D.C. The map proposed in this bill ensures that the conservative principles retained by the majority of those in Louisiana will continue to extend past our boundaries to our nation's capital. Finally, the maps in the proposed bill respond appropriately to the ongoing federal litigation, the ongoing Federal Voting Rights Act case in the Middle District of Louisiana. For those who are unaware of the background, the congressional maps that we enacted that I mentioned a second ago in March of 2022 have been the subject of litigation roughly since the day the 2022 Congressional Redistricting Bill went into effect, and even before we enacted it. So the suit was filed before we actually enacted the bill. After a substantial amount of prolonged litigation, 2 trips to the Fifth Circuit asking it to reverse it, and a trip to the U.S. Supreme Court, the Federal District Court has adhered to its view that the federal law requires that the state have 2 congressional districts with a majority of black voters. It's that simple. Our Secretary of State, our Attorney General, and our prior legislative leadership appealed but have yet to succeed. And we are now here because the federal court's order that we have a first opportunity to act. If we don't act, it is very clear that the federal court will impose the plaintiff's proposed map on our state, and we don't want that. The district court's order that we must have 2 majority black voting age population districts combined with the political imperatives I just described have largely driven the boundaries for District 2 and District 6, both of which are over 50% black voting age population, or BVAP, as you've heard discussed a lot in committees and may hear with folks discussing today. Given the state's current demographics, there is not a high enough black population in the southeast portion of Louisiana to create 2 majority black districts and to also comply with the U.S. Constitution's 1 vote, 1 person requirement. That is the reason why District 2 is drawn around Orleans Parish, while District 6 includes the black population of East Baton Rouge Parish and travels up the I-49 corridor and the Red River to include black population in Shreveport. While this is a different map than the plaintiffs in the litigation have proposed, this is the only map I reviewed that accomplishes the political goals I believe are important for my district, for Louisiana, and for our country. Why I did not draw these boundaries myself, and I'm bringing the bill to the floor for the Senator Womack carried through the Senate and through committee yesterday in this House. I firmly submit that the congressional voting boundaries represented in this bill best achieve the goals of protecting Congresswoman Letlow's seat, maintaining strong districts for Speaker Johnson and Majority Leader Scalise, ensuring full Republican districting, and adhering to the command of the federal court in the Middle District of Louisiana. I submit to you this map, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Representative Taylor on the question. She waves. Representative Amadei on the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rep. Boyer, thanks for carrying the bill over here. Is this bill intended to create another black district?
Yes, ma'am, and to comply with the judge's order.
Thank you.
Seeing no further questions, Representative Baham for the floor.
When I ran for the legislature, I had one goal, and that is to give my community a voice. I've studied some of the plans that were submitted by my colleagues here. Representative Wilford Carter had a plan, I believe, that kept St. Bernard Parish intact, and I appreciate that, Representative Carter. I am here to stand up for my community. St. Bernard has never been split into 2 congressional districts. We've already been split into 2 Senate districts. And to be brutally honest, looking at the way these precincts are, and I know every precinct, I've campaigned in every precinct in St. Bernard. We have 2 precincts, for example, that are in the 2nd Congressional District. One, Precinct 24, gave President Trump 75% of the vote. Precinct 25 gave President Trump 69% of the vote. Those are in the 2nd District. And the 1st District is Precinct 44, which gave President Biden 83% of the vote. Precinct 45 gave President Biden 85% of the vote. It seems like these precincts were just thrown together like a mechanical claw machine, just grabbing people and dropping them off. Now, I participated in the hearings on the congressional reapportionment where they toured the state, and I appreciated the leadership of the House and the Senate, the committees, in doing this. I took advantage of it. I testified. We are being told that we have to redraw all of this in a period of less than 8 days. That is not how you make sausage. That's how you make a mess. I cannot, in good conscience, vote for this bill that divides my community, and I will stand by that for my community. Thank you.
There's no questions.
Thank you.
Representative Boyer to close on the bill.
As a colleague mentioned earlier, sorry, Representative Cox, if I have to quote you, everybody likes to eat sausage, but nobody likes to see how it's made. And it has been painful, and it has been painful for all of us. But it's simple. We're under a federal judge's mandate, and this bill is our best attempt to comply with her decision. So, members, I ask you to support me in voting for this map. Thank you.
Representative Boyer moves for final passage of the bill. Those in favor vote yea. Those opposed vote nay. The clerk will open the machine. Vote your machine, members. Members, are you through voting? The clerk will close the machine. We have 86 yeas, 16 nays, and the bill is finally passed. Representative Boyer moves to adopt the title and moves to reconsider the vote for which the bill finally passed and lay that motion on the table without objection.